What's going on, Raider Nation? I know some people are wondering what my thoughts are on the NFL draft. And now let me just get this out of the way of the draft. So the Raiders are drafting 4th overall. And that's pretty early. So what are the Raiders going to do? Well, free agency, first of all, they picked up the center, Rodney Hudson. They also kind of fixed the defensive line a bit with Dan Williams. I thought that was a very good pickup. Those were the two main pickups I thought that were good. Otherwise, I'm not impressed with the Lofton pickup or even Michael Crabtree, who's kind of been coming off a down year. But it's all low risk. All these moves are very low risk. I mean, even Nate Allen's contract, everyone's going to freak out over the money. But every contract he signs are one-year deals, essentially, unless the guy proves he's worth what he's being paid. The Raiders can always cut the guy if he sucks. It's pretty simple. These are all one-year contracts, in my opinion. Just happen to have an extra few years if he turns out to be good. So, and some of these contracts are meant to get to the floor, like Nate Allen. I mean, they overpaid him. I get it. They have to get to the cap floor. You have to be at the 89th percentile of the cap total. So, Raiders, right at the cap floor. Once the draft goes through, they're going to be right at the floor. Yeah, I'm not so impressed with the safety position and even some parts of the secondary. I thought the signings were pretty mediocre. But then we go back into the draft and we look at positions and look at players. Really, who do I want? You're probably asking me why. Who do I want? Well, I want Kevin White. After doing some evaluation and since I made my last video, I switched from Amari Cooper to Kevin White because I think the upside is too good. The guy has more than just speed. He's got the hands. He's got all those abilities, I think, in a number one receiver that I want. I want the deep threat. I don't think Amari Cooper brings that same deep threat ability as Kevin White does. I know Cooper may be the more polished route runner, but I have to trust the coaching staff and Musgrave to run this offense. I think Kevin White can bring that presence that Amari Cooper cannot. So, yeah, that's who I want in the 4th overall pick. The other guy I'd be okay with is Dante Fowler because he can be plugged anywhere on the defensive line. He's versatile, and that's a guy that can always help too. I think he's very, very capable of that 4th overall pick. So those are the two guys I want at 4. If the Raiders get an offer they can't refuse, then yeah, you trade down. I think there are plenty of good receivers in this draft. That's a position I think that's very loaded. Otherwise, you take the best player available, and Reggie's going to do that. He's going to take the best players on his board, no matter what. That's what I believe. He's kind of gotten rid of guys that Al Davis took, and we already know that. I mean, notice that Stefan Wisniewski's still a free agent. They don't want him back. He's going to get his players, for the most part. So yeah, Derek Carr needs a playmaker, and I think Kevin White is the position I think he's the best guy to take. Going down and we look at the draft, I think Tampa Bay is going to take Jameis Winston. Obviously, they need a quarterback. You know, this really was not the year to be the worst team. There was no clear can't-miss player to go 1st overall. Really, there isn't. I don't feel that. The only year I felt that was Andrew Luck. That's the only year that's worth tanking. But otherwise, it's a crapshoot. You got to figure out who's who. Remember when Jadeveon Clowney was a can't-miss? Anyone? Yeah, that's right. You look at what he did last year, and they won a lot of games without him, the Texans. But he's not the reason why they won the games. Obviously, there were other factors. So Tampa goes Jameis Winston. They need a quarterback. They're probably going to go with him. Tennessee becomes a wild card at 2. I could see them trading out of it, and I could see the Chargers coming into it. Chargers got to trade Phillip Rivers. They got no choice. Their backs are against the wall. He's going to leave after this year, so they have to trade him somewhat. They have to get something. They could take Mariota 2nd overall. I could see Tennessee even trading with the Eagles, which we know that's been speculation since December. Eagles trading up for Mariota. They could give him their whole arm, leg, and stomach and liver, the whole thing. So I think Mariota could go 2nd. If not, if the Titans do choose the draft, I'm going to say Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams, I think he's overrated. I personally do. I don't think he's a can't-miss player, but that's just me. I'm one guy. It's my opinion. That's all I can say there. So Leonard Williams or Mariota 2nd. Jacksonville's also a wild card. They're open to a trade down. I'm going to say Fowler, though. I think they need a pass rusher. That's their issue from what I've been seeing. I don't think wide receiver is going to be a problem. Of course, some team could trade up, and Jacksonville will take an offer they can't refuse. So that leaves the Raiders, and I think Kevin White or Amari Cooper will both be there. I do not see them going 3rd or 2nd overall, no matter what. Tennessee does not need a receiver. Jacksonville doesn't. The only way those guys get taken is if a team trades up. And I think teams that want to trade up are the Eagles and Chargers, which I've already mentioned. They'll probably could take Mariota early because they don't know what other teams are thinking. So, yeah, the Raiders, they could trade down and get an offer they can't refuse, or that I hope they take Kevin White. That is my personal opinion. There are some other positions I'd want to address, like the guard position. I think the whole, I mean, Austin Howard's the only guard we got, I feel. Even right tackle, I'm unsure. There's Donald Penn on one side. I don't know if Austin Howard goes back to tackle, but Menelik Watson's too raw. Don't see it. I'm not buying that. So, and then there's the running back. We got Latavius Murray. They're going to take a running back somewhere, I expect. But just because we signed Michael Crabtree doesn't mean we don't need a wide receiver. I still feel there has to be the need for a number one, a true deep threat. The Raiders don't have it. Michael Crabtree will not be good in press coverage straight up if he's that number one guy. It's just not going to work. They need a deep threat so that he takes the top off. Defensively, the defensive line, like Justin Ellis, looked good, and there was some promise on the defensive line, but I feel there could always be more upgrades. There's a bunch of veterans like Justin Tuck right now, but in the long term, you're going to need the younger guys. So defensive line is always a feel for a need. I hope the linebacker position, for the most part, it's pretty settled with Khalil Mack, but another outside linebacker wouldn't hurt. Inside linebacker, I mean, really, I'm kind of uncertain there. It could be Lofton, could be the veteran, but they could always draft there too if they want to. I mean, Reggie will take the best guy on his board. I've said it before. And then there's safety. That's another position they can use. I mean, they could use any position, really, except quarterback, running back, and maybe some parts of the line. But otherwise, I think the Raiders need to go Kevin White. That's the guy I feel. If there's any other names that you like, let me know. But this is my Raiders preview of the draft. Here's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just higher on Kevin White than Amari Cooper, but I won't be mad if Cooper's drafted. I just think White has a little bit more upside. I like what I've seen from him that show that to be a deep threat. See you guys later. Go Raiders and let me know what you think.